Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Lighthouse sessions. Today I have my new friend Julia Plett with me. Julia, welcome to the show. Why don't you just take a minute and introduce yourself and tell my audience what you do?
Yeah, hey, I'm Jules. I own an eco-friendly shop and refillery in Manitoba, which is a store where you can bring your own bottles from home and fill them up with your personal care and household cleaners.
Awesome. And just before we managed to hit record, you were telling me how you got into that. So why don't you tell us a little bit about why you started doing that? And then we're going to talk about the industry as a whole, because I'm fascinated by something I didn't know existed.
Yeah, so I started because before COVID, I was living in a van working as a landscape photographer. So I was out in a lot of national parks and traveling around and living in a really small space, which just made me become acutely aware of how much waste I was producing because you have nowhere to put it when you're in a van. You have like a bathroom-sized garbage can and that's it. So you were constantly looking for places to get rid of your garbage, as well as when you're in the national park and hiking area, there's a lot of like leave no trace and cleaning up better than how you got there. So you were also picking up a lot of other people's trash at the same time. So I started becoming aware of what I was producing in my waste and how I could be less wasteful, and started finding either like stores that had little refill sections or stores that just sold a lot of the eco-friendly swaps. To be fair, when I was in a van, I was doing more of like the solids, like the bar shampoos and conditioners and solid dish soaps and things because of the space I had. But I did find refilleries and do those things. So then when COVID hit and I had to come back to Canada, I ended up back in Manitoba with my family, and they had just moved to Steinbach. So I ended up back there with them, or there for the first time with them. And the only refillery would have been in Winnipeg, which was an hour away, and like downtown, not and super easy for me to get to space. So I was like ordering everything online or having to drive the hour, which I'm like, that doesn't make sense for emissions wise, how much I'm offsetting anymore. So I'm like, what if I start my own refillery? If I'm the one place in this town that people can come get their eco-friendly swaps from, because maybe other people in this town, I was brand new to the town, but I assumed other people in the town had the same needs as me. And so I actually started in a trailer. It was 2021, so we were in the middle of like lockdown with COVID, especially in retail stores that weren't necessities. So I bought a trailer and had like a pop-up window where we'd pop up or do farmers markets and people would bring their bottles to us there. And we did that for like 6 months, but it was Canada, winter was coming, and we ended up with our first storefront in Steinbach about 6 months later.
I love it. And I'm laughing because entrepreneurs, I love our people. We have a problem and we just solve it. And then we're like, I bet others would want this. And next thing you know, a business is born out of just sheer frustration and here's a problem I have, how do I solve it? So let's talk a little bit about the industry as a whole, because I'm very conscious. you know I have two teenage boys, and whenever we do things, there's a lot of waste. You look at the shower products, everything comes in a bottle, and the bottles are this big and you got to refill them or throw them out or recycle them.
Mhm.
So what is the industry looking like? And we talked about scarcity, but let's talk about the industry for a minute, because I think if we can do little things that have a big impact, I'm all in favor of less plastic in my world wherever possible.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a big part of refilling is just also using what we've already created. So we really push for our customers to bring in like that last shampoo that you just finished, bring that in and refill it instead of buying something new and getting a new product. And a lot of times people come to refilleries assuming that they need to buy our bottle first and then fill it up. But we'd rather not even create that level of plastic. We do have those options. I know for me, going from a van to like an apartment or a house, I needed a lot more things. So there were times when I was buying new and looking for glass or alternatives, but a major majority of people already have something. So we very much do push for you to bring in your own bottle and fill it up. But yeah, it is hard because our products are also made differently. A lot of the time, the eco-friendly thing really came from the natural world, out of the brands that were creating refilleries. A lot of them were already doing the natural products in the normal packaging, but when they started realizing that people wanted different, they started launching refill lines, or new brands have now popped up where they launch with a refill line. But definitely back in the day, I know one of our biggest partners in our store that we've had since we opened is called Pierre out of Quebec, and they've been doing it for 12 years. And I think they said they've been refilling for at least 10 of those. So they have been doing that. They started out as, I think, their father owned a furniture company and wanted like some furniture cleaner, and so they started making like cleaners that way, and then it like grew into this whole line that they have personal care, household cleaners, all of that stuff. So it just kind of grew out of what people kind of, like you said, we see something that we need, and so people create that, which is really cool.
I love it. And we're going to cover how people can find these resources. I accidentally discovered that you can make your own soap at home with condensed Castile soap. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And it's been a huge impact because we buy one big bottle and we got soap for years. Like it's amazing. So one of the things, most people don't know this exists, or more accurately, I didn't know this existed until I had the lovely Kate Asaraf on the show. So if somebody's just getting new to this space, what should they be looking for to find these places? Because I've done the search for Edmonton, and I think we have about 5, maybe 6 on a good day, but they're not intuitive searches. I think I had to go to your website, and then I copied a few of the words like refilling station or something like that. You mentioned yet a couple of websites you love to go to. So what are those sites?
Yeah, so we actually I did this a few weeks ago, but I created a blog post on my website that links some of my favorite locators. So you can find different ones, and it does work for all over the world. With social media, we reach customers that we can't even provide for since we only sell in Canada. And we're asking for refills and stuff like that. So I have 3 locators on there that I love to use to share. There's one that's like Go Zero Waste. However, I do believe that website that I always used for years, I do think that website shut down due to just financial burdens, but there's been a new one that's popped up that's, I'd have to pull up the link. It is, but you can find it all on our blog. And then we have linked on all of the areas you can kind of find refilleries, and I find they're really accurate. When we helped set up like a really small refillery in Altona, I didn't promote it a whole ton. It was in other stores. They do like very little promoting, and they were already on that website. So I know, like, even hard to know about refilleries, they were on top of and found us. So I love using refillery locators. Even if you just Google that, you'll probably find some websites for you that gives you like a map of all the refilleries. Other things I do is I go to brands like Dip, Kate's brand, and use their store locators. So any like eco-friendly brands, if you look at their store locators, majority of them are going to be refilleries. Kate's a great example for the US. We're her only store in Canada, but you can find a lot of refilleries that way. In Canada, I would use brands that I know do refilling, like Carina Organics or Pure or Mint Cleaning Co. They'll locate refilleries for you as well.
I love it, and I'll make sure we put a link to the your blog there, because we might as well send people your way anyway. So,
yeah.
Now, one of the myths I struggled with at first when I looked at some of the prices, and it seems like refilling is more expensive than the store-bought stuff. But I recognize, and I want your thought on this, when I buy a thing of laundry detergent at Costco, I'm hauling home 90% water and 10% liquid, cleaning liquid. Whereas when I go to a refillery, it tends to be more condensed, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So we actually, another one of our blog posts that we've done recently is on cost comparison. So we broke down the cost of buying. We didn't compare back then. We didn't have our Winnipeg store, so we only compared to things that you could get available, what we found at the grocery store in Steinbach, and compared costs that way. I do think a lot of the time it's hard to compete with brands like Costco. They carry even our product line sometimes in bulk, and they're buying it for the price we're buying it. So it's kind of hard to compete with stores like Costco that do such big bulk. However, when we compare to like Superstore or Sobeys or any of those big ones, we are often comparable or cheaper when you break it down to the cost, like for laundry per load. So if you break it down to ours, you use 25 mLs, but a lot of the ones at Superstore, you use 40 mLs. So once you break it down to how much you're actually supposed to use of the product, it ends up being cheaper on our side of things.
I love it. And Kate taught me that bars are zero liquid, so you're getting the pure condensed thing. So bars, and wouldn't it be nice if, Costco is the king of retail in Canada? Wouldn't it be nice if you could get a 5 gallon pail of washing concentrate instead of, buying the other things? But
Yeah.
uh,
I know I just got a message from one of my customers works at Costco, and she said that we buy big pails of Nellies. They're a big powder brand in Canada, and they started selling the big containers that we buy at the Costco. They just opened a business center here in Winnipeg. So they do have a concentrated powder, which is a step in the right direction. I'm definitely happy that it's available. However, you have to buy, I think it's like 1,100 loads or something like that. So it's definitely a big quantity, but it is good to see that they're starting to see more need for eco-friendly, and we're happy that if businesses that have to do a lot of laundry are using those products, that's awesome either way.
I love it. And we have a Costco business center in Edmonton. So now I have to go check because
Yeah. Yeah, you can find the size pails that we buy for our refillery and use those at home. So I mean, we buy like 3 or 4 when we're buying them, but you can buy the pails, which is pretty cool. We were excited when we heard that was available in our community with the new business center opening up. But there's definitely a lot more than just like powdered laundry is a great concentrated option. You can even make your own at home. We have, again, on our blog, recipes for making your own powdered laundry that can get even cheaper that way. And it's not too hard. It's kind of like the Castile soap is a great base. We have a Castile soap bar that you shred up and mix with like borax and baking soda to make your own laundry. And it's a lot of fun to get to DIYing a little bit more in the eco-friendly world.
So Kate and I, we nerded out because apparently we both like to experiment and play with things. And, I don't even know. I actually no, I know that the Castile soap, my homemade hand soap, is way cheaper. It's definitely less burny on skin in the Canadian winters. But I did it just because I wanted to say I made my own soap, and it was like, ooh, I can put whatever I want. So we had orange scented, we've had lemon scented. I love the fact that you can play with it. And one of my sons, he's a major fan of chemistry. I feel like him and I are going to do some experiments over the summer and see what we can create, just because, I don't need to go to the store and buy all these things. And, again, I do find like Castile soap, I get I don't know what it is. It's a liter, give or take, for about $14. The same size of hand soap is probably $5, but I can get hundreds of
Yeah, exactly.
uses.
And it's something that even in our refillery, not all of them, but ours, we do like what we call a raw bar. So you can buy those single ingredients like Castile soap. So you could bring that 1 liter and fill it up. Because we know, especially in this world of eco-friendly, a lot of people would rather know what's in their products. So they make a lot of their own product. And it is so much cheaper to make your own product. Obviously, it's more work, but it is a lot cheaper and it's a lot of fun. Like I love with my powdered laundry, I get to make it whatever scent I want that week and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun to do. And lip balm, these are actually I was on a talk show a few weeks ago. We filmed, they haven't all aired, but we've done like DIY beeswax and DIY laundry and DIY lip balm. So we have like these different segments that we do that they air every once in a while. For all of those fun DIYs that I like to do. And you can buy most of the ingredients from us directly as well without packaging that way.
I love it. Now, I grew up on a farm, so believe it or not, I'm old enough. We once tried to churn our own butter, realized that's way too much work.
Yeah, I live on a farm now. When I got married, I moved on to one with my husband. He owns his own business as well as a chicken farmer. And that is something that I have now tried. We have 2 cows. I actually have a mug of one of my cows. It's a boy, so we don't have milk, but I have goats and stuff as well. So we've talked about getting milk from them and doing those things, but I do get cream and I whip my own butter still. It is a lot of work, but it does save a little bit of money and it's fun to flavor it different ways. So it's pretty cool.
Well, and it's very different. So I have a suspicion. I want you to verify, but I feel like small towns like Steinbach, or small cities, sorry, Steinbach, I didn't mean to offend,
Yeah.
would be more open to this, especially the farming communities, because cost is a factor, but it's also the hassle of driving into Winnipeg to get something. So the other thing I'm thinking is a lot of this stuff you're selling is not just environmentally friendly because you're eliminating packaging, it's also the ingredients. I can't help but think the stuff you are promoting is better for septic systems and rural waste disposal.
Yeah, that's something we talk about a lot because with our first location being rural, and I didn't always live rural. I grew up in the city in Winnipeg, but I had a cabin and we did like I had septic out there and we dealt with a lot of those same struggles. So even opening right after I moved here, I was able to like talk through why I liked the product and things like that on the septic system. And we do. Steinbach is such a hub for, it is a city. I don't see it as a city. It's a very small town in my opinion, but it is considered a city. But we're a hub for so many other small towns. Like I live in a town called Bloomnoit. And so we all shop. Like I don't even have a grocery store because we're close enough to Steinbach and St. Anne that those are the places that we shop. And so we have so many like rural people. And I was kind of saying this earlier, I think, when we were chatting, that in Winnipeg, it feels like we're offering, although we're in a bigger market, it's very like community, like people who can walk to us based versus out in Steinbach. The farms are so used to having to travel for their goods that they come to us. But yeah, there's been a huge intake over the last since the trad wife trend and all of those things as well that have brought new customers and new people to us in the last couple of years as people get into making their own products or slowing down their consumption and stuff, because that's so much what we push in our brand. In Steinbach, at least, we very much do have that kind of culture of customers. In Winnipeg, we have a totally different clientele, and the way we market at our two stores are very different.
Yeah, I would imagine city is a little different, and it's interesting because I looked at Edmonton and there's a couple that look really interesting, but I'm like, okay, am I offsetting? You talked about emissions. If I have to drive all the way across the city, is it worth it? But one day I'm going to do a tour and I'm going to go to all of them just to see them. But let's talk about the business of refillery, because I think that's what you're most passionate about. And I don't know if you woke up and said, I'm going to start a cause, but it feels like that's what you've signed up for now. Is that fair?
Yeah, that is very fair. I think with refilling in this type of business in particular, you have so much heart and value behind what we're selling and what we're doing that it's something that I'm really very passionate about. And my husband is actually working on opening his own retail store right now, in a very different market. He's a farmer, so it's all farm fresh food that he's working on. And I'm helping him kind of figure out what his vision and his passion is behind his food, and that everything he sells has a reason to be there, because I feel like that's helped my business so much. So it's something that as he's figuring out what products he wants to carry, we're being very specific on it has to be local Manitoba farms that he's selling for it to make sense for what he's doing.
I love it. So let's talk about the refillery industry. First of all, it feels a little like the Wild West right now. It seems like it's a little bit hard to find and hard to be intelligent about shopping.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see coming, and what do you hope for the industry as a whole?
Yeah, it's something that, it can be scary to kind of say this because I'm a small business that I'm doing something on my own. And so that means I get all of the customer base. But I think it's so important that this becomes a mainstream option that I really do hope to see either more independent retailers offer this, or for bigger retailers to at least start offering their selection in package-free options. We'll see how it goes. It comes with a lot more education. Every customer who comes in, I have to give the explanation on how it works, what bottles they can shop with, because it's not easy and understandable. And that's something, as I'm helping other retailers open refill stations, I tell them, I'm like, this is not like a shop yourself kind of experience. A lot of the time you need to be able to help them understand, yeah, we have a sign up that says how to refill, and those things, it helps. And some people are independent and don't want to be hounded when they're shopping, but majority of the time our customers, you're explaining the process, you're getting them hooked up on it, but then they become regulars who know what they're doing and figure out how to do the shopping. So it's definitely a business model that comes with a lot of education and connection with your customer base. But I love that part of it. I love being able to explain what I'm passionate about and talk about all of these things with it. but I really hope to see more refilleries because, like I said, in order to be the most sustainable, you have to be able to like get these products without creating a ton more emissions to get there. So it's definitely something we're working towards, trying to get more places set up in refills. And I've been talking with people who own like massage therapy clinics and stuff like that who have a little space for a refill. Why not have that refill space be your products, but make them refillable? Whether it's you make your own products and you offer a refill lineup, or if you buy a setup brand like Pure that has kind of everything across the board already, depending on what business model they're in. And I spend a lot of time with when I'm trying to find new products for our store, there's a lot of times that I'm helping them set up a refill model. So things like our magnesium creams that we've launched recently, we had to talk to a bunch of different makers and figure out who would work the best, whose formula would work the best, and who was willing and able to do the like jar deposit system. And so it takes some time and some dedication to it, but it's really fun to also get new brands offering refill. We just worked with a Saskatchewan-based brand for tanning lotion, like something to help give you the tan without the sun rays. And they set up a refill option, and now they're offering it to other refilleries, and I'm seeing it go to other stores when we were kind of their like startup test store. So that's been really cool as well.
I love that as a concept, and I'm just thinking a lot out loud again. With a household of boys, my boys and I, we go through body wash and shampoo and stuff. Everybody with a washing machine, you got dead space. I'm just thinking out loud, we could buy we've got that big container that we get at Costco. Is that something we could take to a refilling station, or?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, sometimes it depends. I had someone message me yesterday asking for like 4 liters of lotion, and that's not something that we have sitting on hand. So some of that stuff is like a pre-order, so that we make sure we have the quantities at all times. But like shampoo, conditioner, we always have like ample amount of it. Laundry, we on the regular, we get the big barrels of laundry, so people can bring in the Costco size containers. We will tell them, because our product's more concentrated, you're going to be paying a lot more up front, and that's great. But yeah, we are very much working on offering like even bulk at home, so you could get like the 10 liters of laundry that are a bladder from us. It is a pre-order again, but it comes with just the plastic bladder that can be recycled in curbside recycling, and it reduces how much is in there as well.
I love it. I think I'm going to build a refilling station on top of my washing machine.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Get some bulk at home and refill your own containers. Why not?
I love it. And I think that's we went with, we have one of those high efficiency washers that, you have to have special cold water. I don't know. It's a special type of liquid detergent, but I'm sure there's powder and things like that. So let's talk about the business of refilleries. Is there like a refillery association, a refillery conference? Like, how do you learn about the industry you're in, and how do you spread the word?
Yeah, I do think there's some in the US. I know for a fact like Dip, Kate, who you've had on, has done like Dip trips where her stores go with it. However, there isn't really that association in Canada at this point. And I haven't been able to go on a Dip trip yet. I almost went to the Morocco one, but I was getting married that year and it just didn't work out. But there are like great areas where you go and like talk with other refilleries. And that's something that's really nice in our community. There was a refillery in Winnipeg that we worked very closely with. We would order our products with that refillery. So although we each ordered our own order, we get it shipped on a pallet together to help reduce emissions. They have since closed down, which was too bad, because now we're kind of the only people in Manitoba doing it. But that's why I'm kind of trying to help other refilleries open up and connect with them. But there hasn't really been an association that I know of. It's a lot of just being online and talking with the brands. I mean, I always try to get a really close relationship, like the brand Pure. I'm close with the owner. We have meeting conferences all the time, and he helps assist me with, he has he's in Quebec, and Quebec does have quite a lot of refilleries. So he has a lot of customers there that we can kind of connect to and talk to, and get information on different brands. And it's a lot of just talking with other stores. My sister lives in Calgary, so whenever I'm visiting there, I usually go and visit the refilleries, and I've made friends with those owners and stuff. So I've worked really hard on making my own kind of community within the sphere, whether it's online or when I'm traveling. I'll always visit other refilleries and try to talk to them. But it is something that I wish in Canada we had more refilleries here.
I love it. So what do you see as the future of the refillery industry? Obviously, you're doing your part. You've opened 3 now. So
Yeah, that's exactly it. And we just had one other place launch a refill station yesterday that we helped set up. So it's definitely been, we're trying to now help small businesses that are already maybe doing like a shop local store, or like I said, like a other store. We're trying to get more and more stores open as much as possible. And we are also, yeah, I'm hoping that refill becomes a little more mainstream, a little bit more. Right now, especially Manitoba, most of our products are either coming from Quebec or BC. So it would be nice that if more and more places offer it, that we can get something a little more local as well.
I love it. I love it. Now, where do you order from? Who's sending you the stuff you're refilling? What's that? Is it supplier by supplier, or is there a centralized ordering place?
There's not. There's kind of. So Faire is a huge shopping platform now. It's how we order dip a lot of the time. You're always doing independent orders, but you're ordering from them. And that is one option that we use for finding a lot of our products and brands and stuff. We actually also have our own product line. It's stuff we all have manufactured overseas, like bamboo and silicone, things we can't get made here easily. So we also sell to other retailers with that line, and majority refilleries, and we use Faire or our own website. So it is a lot of direct customers. There are a few, like a lot of the natural stores like Vita Health, which I don't know if that's only Manitoba thing, but Vita Health is like one that has multiple locations and does like the supplements and all of those things. They seem to have some platforms created for them. So we use something called like Purity Life, and we can get some of our products there. Not a lot of like refill goods, but we can get a lot of like bar options. Obviously not dip because it's a Canadian company, so they're not on there. But we work a lot with like Attitude. We get their skincare line that all comes in paper tubes. We get that from Purity Life, as well as a lot of our period products. So we do like menstrual cups and discs and all of those lines. So Diva Cup, we get from there. And so there's a lot of kind of small brands that we can get accessory products for. It's just not our refill line comes from there. So majority of the time it's direct. We do our research on who has refill options available and kind of go direct to them.
You know, it's funny because a couple of industries come to mind. First of all, hair salons. Why wouldn't you have a refilling station of those products? I know now most of them, they make their money selling the bulk bottle, but you know, if you're charging people for a haircut, why wouldn't you have that option?
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking like naturopaths, chiropractors, massage therapists, especially massage therapists, where they've got their oils, their lotions, and then they do a lot of laundry. It seems like it would be a good business model as a small business to be using more condensed.
Yeah, exactly.
Less.
And we're even talking to like gyms. So they offer like free shampoo and conditioner often in their showers, at least smaller gyms do. So we're like, why don't you order our 10 liters of product and then you can fill up your dispensers with those. So it's not like a sell thing, but then they're not doing the wasteful bottles. So that is something, as we become a distributor for Pure, we are working on contacting and getting Airbnbs, like they can buy the 10 liters and refill their bottles with those. So it is definitely something that I think refilling can become, even like refill at home or refill at businesses can definitely grow now. And that's something we're really trying to work on here in Manitoba, at least right now, with helping Pure get into more places here.
I love it. Now, you and I can talk about this all day because I have so many questions, but I will be mindful of your time. Where can people go to connect with you, learn more about what you're doing, and maybe learn how they can order from you online?
Yeah, one thing that's great about our website is we carry a lot of concentrated products like dip, shampoo and conditioner bars, but also we have like cleaning tablets. So they're little tablets that you just pop in a bottle and fill up with water. So even if you're not local to Manitoba, you can shop our products across Canada, and we have lightweight products that we can ship to you, which you can find on our website, which is just milieumarket.ca. And then we're pretty active on social media as well, on TikTok and Instagram majority, but that milieu.market is our accounts there.
I love it. Well, Julia, I want to thank you for taking the time, sharing your passion and the work you're doing. I love it. Keep it up. And thank you for being on the show today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.